Hey guys, welcome back. As promised, I did say I was gonna do a little bit of work on Nori. Now I have to pull out the motor, pull out the gearbox, and pretty much do a full rebuild. I would say this is like version 3 of Nori now. So we've gone through the SR20, which was the first, I wouldn't even say it was a build, but as it came, I drifted it like that. Now it's like version 2 of the car, and I think we're entering version 3, which is like a little bit more power, a little bit more reliability. Gonna do builds, maybe eventually do NOS, I don't know, depends on how reliable this setup is actually gonna be. So yeah, as I said, I am going to be pulling out the box, and I don't know how far we're gonna get today, but we're just winging it, taking it easy, and pumping some music, and we're gonna get to it. But first, I'm gonna show you what the setup is. So come with me. So right now, this is what the setup looks like. We have a BMW E36 gearbox. I've had quite a few people ask me about what setup I'm running. But yeah, E36 gearbox. This is also the slave to match. We need to adjust the rod because I think it has been shortened too much. As you can see, there's also a bit of a leak there, so that's going to need to be resolved when we put it back in. Also, we have a TF Works bell housing adapter and their twin plate copper clutch, I think it is. But I'll put it on the screen anyway if you guys are curious, but you guys will see it once it comes out. It's quite nice. It's very big, kind of heavy. But yeah, and then also I've got the TF Works gearbox mount, a custom tail shaft as well, which was made, I would show you where it was made, but the sticker's up here. I think it's called GJ Drivelines, I think, and they're in Melbourne, but they sent it to me, and it's got like this really pretty billet coupling, I think is what they call it. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. And up there we've just got like the TF Works selector. They just have like a little rod that extends it so you can run the gearbox in there. And then there's a custom plate that kind of just sits the shifter in there. So that's how we select gears. So that's what I'm going to be taking out today. The rest I'm going to run you through it once I start pulling the motor out, but it's a pretty simple setup, nothing fancy, just, you know, people make pieces to swap these now. So it's quite straightforward. So yeah, a couple of people have asked me as well, why have I gone the BMW over the CD009? And the main reason is because I like how light this is, and I thought to myself, well, if something happens at the track and I have to pull the box out and I'm like, I don't know, in another state or something, I don't want to be lifting like a really heavy box out of the car. I'd much prefer to be like dealing with something of this size rather than like something that's like almost double the size and double the weight. It's probably worth mentioning that the kit was actually cheaper with the ZF transmission too. So the CD009 overall I think worked out to be like 3 or 4 grand more expensive. So to me it's not worth it. To some people it is. I don't know. I kind of just hope the box lasts. So far it's been doing good. Bit clunky, but it's okay. It's all right, it's doing good so far. All right, so I'm gonna get to pulling this out, and then I'll run you guys through what is behind this gearbox and if we can see anything that's wrong. Okay, so just taking off the tail shaft to start with. These are actually in quite close clearance. So we have to go through this little section here with the open end spanner, and these are actually touching the coupling as well, as you can see. So we kind of can really only move the nut on the backside. So this is going to be fun, but I'm sure we'll get it off in no time. And now on the backside, it's pretty much just a 16 and 17 mil here. So I'm going to remove that, considering that's the easier one to remove, and then it will give us some more leeway to pull the tail shaft out. Okay. She's out. Now, basically just gonna remove the box, start undoing all the bolts, start slowly undoing these, you know, jack it up, do the usual protocol. Hopefully we can get this out fairly easy. I might actually drain it too, that's another thing, so it becomes slightly lighter. Yeah, all right, let's get to it. Okay, so I'm just gonna drain the oil. I should add that in there. That's pretty funny. So I'm just gonna have a look if there's any like metallic material in the oil. Oh, it's fresh as. Come have a look. Oh, nah, I don't think so. That's bubbles. It looks a bit metallic-y, but oh. Oh. That's actually pretty good considering, to be honest. It gets smashed, but there is a bit of metallic-y material in there. I feel like that's just a result of getting absolutely thrashed. But yeah. So now I'm pretty much gonna remove the gearbox bolts. We've got the bell housing adapter there. I'm pretty sure there's probably about maybe 6 bolts around. There are some that I don't need to remove, obviously, just because they connect directly to the adapter rather than the block itself. So I'm gonna remove the starter motor first, then I'm gonna remove the bolt for the shifter, then I'm actually gonna probably do this on the floor actually once I start removing things, because that way I can get a jack underneath it, because I don't have one of those gearbox jacks for the hoist yet, unfortunately. Also got to disconnect the clutch line, and yeah, we got an isolator switch for the battery, so hopefully there's no sparks, you know. Hopefully it don't get zapped today. But yeah, so I think that's all we have to do, and hypothetically speaking, it should come out. We actually just recorded trying to take off this 19mm of the starter motor, and I used the massive extension pole, but then realized that there was music going in the background, so you guys didn't get to see that. But that's fine, that's all good. It's coming out, but it was a pain in the ass. Absolute pain in the ass. So the starter motor is now out. It was really strange because one of the bolts from the Honda starter motor is actually an Allen key. I don't know if that was because it was too hard to get another bolt in there, or if that was just the way that it was. I don't know. I don't remember myself putting it in there personally. So anyway, it's out, and now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna remove the clutch sleeve. Rather than trying to remove it from here, I'm just gonna remove it from here and just let it dangle, you know? Yeah. Okay, time to take off the bolts. By the looks of it, we've only got 1, 2, there's one like up here, and then there's another one, and then another one on the other side that looks similar to this one. And then on this side, yep, there's just this one here, and then there's another one up there, as I said, that looked like the other one on the bell housing. So that is, yeah, definitely recessed in there for sure. I'm hoping we can get up from the top side, but there's like a water neck that's in the way, but we'll see how it goes. Why am I in the car? You're probably wondering. So I made a little bit of a boo-boo in terms of how I took off the gearbox, or how we tried to take off the gearbox. There's obviously, with the bell housing adapter, you've got a way to adapt it to the engine and a way to adapt it to the gearbox. And the way to adapt it to the engine was actually quite visible, but there was one bolt that wasn't visible, that when we actually got to that point, I couldn't actually remove the gearbox because it was held on by this one bolt that was hidden. So I basically just took it off in the wrong sequence, so my bad. It's one of those situations. However, now we're stuck in a bit of a predicament because there is an Allen key that is a bit stubborn. So I'm going to go to Super Cheap Auto and see what I can find in terms of tools to help me get an Allen key that can get into this position, because without this tool I very highly doubt that this is going to come off, just because of how much torque is needed to actually remove it. So we're just rocking up to Super Cheap Auto now, and yeah, I'm gonna find myself maybe either an Allen key tool like a short line, or maybe even like just like a 10 mil really long spanner, and then that way we can leverage them off a little bit better. So far no good. It doesn't look like Super Cheap Auto sells the singular long spanners. They just sell them in the big packs, and even the Allen keys are still quite long. This might be problematic. Okay, no good. So we're gonna go to Bunnings now, and which is an Australian warehouse type of hardware store, and see if we can find the tool there. Okay, so we just rocked up to Bunnings. I have a feeling that they don't sell it either. $20 for a singular 10 mil. Guys, are they tripping? $17. We're like almost snap-on like prices there. That's not really cool. So I just got this cheapie. It's not long. It's kind of annoying. It's probably gonna snap. It was like $7. I have no choice right now, and this is kind of my only option, so we're gonna go with that. Alright, moment of truth. How much torque can this super tool handle? We're about to find out. Do you want to have a look at our setup?
Hey!
She always wins. She always wins. Yes! Okay, success. It didn't break, but I don't feel like it was loaded enough in terms of torque, so until next time, 10 mil, until next time. Okay, so the gearbox is out. I had a look at the clutch. The clutch looks pretty good, pretty mint condition, but the thing that I did notice, the first thing I noticed was this bearing here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it is fried to the brim. It sounds horrible. It feels horrible. Probably can hear that now. And that needs to be replaced. So you can actually buy these parts, this one here, specifically from TFWorks, because this is a custom bearing. Throw-out bearing, I think it's called, I don't know. Something like that. The thing that helps the fork get pushed. But yeah, so this, I have a bit of an assumption that maybe what has happened is either this has been throwing the clutch kind of like too hard, and it's putting pressure to like the clutch is getting like pushed too far forward, and then it's maybe worn the bearings in the motor, and that could be a result of having like maybe the clutch slave rod too long. That could definitely be a thing, or I mean in conjunction with this being too tall, right? So like it's kind of like a balance that you have to have. So that could have been a thing. Either that or the motor was just on its way out. But this indicates to me that this was the reason why the bearings in the motor wore prematurely. That's what I think anyway. I'm no expert. I'm just winging it. So yeah, that's what I think. So this needs to be replaced. I'm gonna have to organize the correct length for this clutch slave, considering it was adjusted like a billion times by other people in the process of trying to figure out what was wrong with my car. And then we're gonna pull the motor out at some stage, and then probably just like temporarily put the spare motor in. I'm not entirely sure if it's gonna run, like I said, perfectly, but I'm expecting it not to run perfectly. So if it does, it's a bonus. If it doesn't and I put it together and it doesn't work, well, whatever. We'll just continue on building the other motor, which is fine because we're not in a rush. We're just chilling, we're cruising. So I think today's job has been done. I'll show you guys a little bit of what the clutch looks like because I don't think you guys have seen that yet. Well, not for a while actually. But underneath here, this is what the clutch setup looks like. So this is the flywheel and the clutch setup and the bell housing adapter. So you can see it's like nice and tidy. But yeah, so next step, pull the motor out and then swap out all of the old bits onto the new motor, well, spare motor that I have, and then put this one on the stand and start disassembling, and that's pretty much it. So today, I think our job's done. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've gotten this far, you guys are awesome. And I will see you guys soon. I know a few people have been asking me, by the way, about livery tutorials. I may or may not bring out a course. If you guys are interested, leave a comment below because I am curious to know how many people are actually interested in that. Or maybe I might just do like a little course on like one of those course websites. I'm not sure yet, but I know you guys are curious, so I might set you up with something. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next vlog. Peace out.